Yo, just Dave here. And look, I got a few things I got to get off my chest and out of my mind about Isaiah Swerve Scott Strickland. Look, former AEW champion lost a championship again over the weekend at the AEW Dynasty or Mox, getting the effery to beat Strickland. Well, after the match, Strickland had some things to say about Booker T, who he has been feuding with online through podcasts and such for a while now. And I honestly don't get this situation. I really don't. AEW has an attendance problem. There's no question about that. Even this video that is circulating shows their attendance problem. It's not hidden. But the first and foremost, for Isaiah Swerve Scott Strickland to take this moment after a big return to the company and a swerve and a turn and all this, to make it about himself, to grab a microphone and just make this moment about himself, shows how little he gets it. Like, to further alienate, in my opinion, sectors of the audience with this nonsense is just so stupid, because it hasn't been working. If it's been working, that'd be one thing. But this feud with Booker T has not worked. It's not going his way because he's arguing with the wrong person when you're talking about representation. Let's first listen to what Isaiah Swerve Scott Strickland, the rat of AEW, had to say after losing to Mox at the latest pay-per-view Dynasty, whatever the hell that was this weekend.
Just speak about representation. I go out there and prove the fucking thing. Just for my amusement, fuck Booker T.
It's so stupid because you can't, like, what have you done and lived that Booker T didn't pave the road for you for? Look, I'm not trying to say that Booker T is responsible for every young black wrestler's success, because no, that's ridiculous. But he is certainly responsible for making sure a lot of the bumps in the road that he had to face, these guys don't have to. And he is responsible for that. He was a bulldozer. One of the most, if not the most important black athlete wrestler in the history of wrestling. And I'm not going to get into what's blacker, who's blacker, if The Rock's black. I'm not going to get into this. Some people really like to mince over whether or not The Rock is black or Samoan, if that matters at all. Listen, his dad was Rocky Johnson. Part of his gimmick was shucking and jiving. Rock's black, okay? His daddy is black. He's black. It's just how it is. He's also Samoan. But don't ever take away from The Rock's credentials as a black world heavyweight champion, ever, because it's ridiculous. Booker T is so important with or without the inclusion of The Rock, in that you don't need to put another black athlete into a different category or mince over his race or ethnicity just to up or make Booker T a stronger candidate. He stands on his own, and that's part of the point here. You don't need to, like, Book has done nothing but put Swerve and other young black wrestlers on pedestals. He really tries to put people over, but he's also a wrestling critic. He is WWE's version of Charles Barkley, in essence. He's a Hall of Famer that isn't on the top level of some of the other guys that he has to work with or be around or his contemporaries, but he's unbelievably well respected. He's on everybody's list for a reason, just like Chuck. He's endearing. He's well liked. People see his charm, and that's what Book has done. He's had this great second career in commentary and in interviewing and all the podcasting that he does, because he is very, very enamoring. Isaiah Scott, man, I think he's got a lot of problems. I don't think that he can continue with the way that he has been in his career and expect to be well liked in other companies. If he ever has to go to another one, we'll see if AEW lasts forever or goes down in flames. But the point is, this guy has caused issues, and in AEW, all he's been is a rat. If you do anything around Isaiah Scott, he's taking notes. Strickland is a fucking rat, man. I mean, like, he is a tattletale narc, and it's really gross. There's like 3 or 4 things on his record now of him just narking. He's just such a tattletale for no reason. Like, it's so stupid. Who is Tony Khan that you need to be tattling on? Who are these guys that your loyalty is so important to? You're that bitter over your use or lack of use or mistreatment in WWE? Most of the people who are even there aren't even there anymore. But I love it. I love it because it shows the holes and it shows a lot of the BS. And a lot now, we're seeing a lot of the people who went to AEW are really starting to return, whether it's Andrade or the very soon returning Aleister Black. There's just been so many. And now Paige, very most likely. And now we're starting to see some of the diehards like Chris Jericho waver in their support. If you're not going to just continue to suck the AEW nuts like you have done your entire time, don't say anything, Chris Jericho, because you're such a hypocrite at this point and no one can take your words seriously on much that you don't need to be giving anybody else extra ammo because holy God, it's pathetic, isn't it? It really is sad to hear him start to, well, you know, I'd go back. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. The writing's on the wall in AEW, folks, and part of the reason is because of this bullshit that some of the people in AEW continue to do. Now, I got to give credit. The executives, all the big guys that were kind of the problem that set the tone originally in AEW, the Bucks, Omega, all those type of guys, they've learned to shut the hell up. But some of these idiots, now I don't really hear much from Jack Perry anymore these days, but some of these idiots like Swerve Scott just don't know when to stop. Swerve Strickland doesn't know how to stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Bad boy, baby. No, it ain't gonna work. And last and not least, Swerve, get Book out of your head, man. Why is Booker T doing nonstop spin-a-roonies, whoa, up inside that dome of yours? It doesn't make any sense, bruh. Like, he should not be living this rent-free that where you have to grab a microphone after a match, you know, and just go into business for yourself. This is the type of stuff that it's sad that we don't have Undertaker anymore, you know, just to be the wrestling. You know what? That'd be a great show. You know, it doesn't matter if you're WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, NWA, NAACP. It doesn't even matter who you is. Undertaker should just be the wrestling. If it's a wrestling related situation, the Undertaker should just have a show called Wrestling Court. We're going to have Wrestling Court today. Undertaker will be the judge. That's how it should all go. The Undertaker should rule on all these things forever and always. Look, not the greatest subject in the world when it comes to race relations and stuff like that. But I think this story is absolutely filled with importance because, well, I hate Isaiah Scott and I think he's a rat. So I love showing anything where he's just the worst. And because I'm not a big fan of Booker T, I don't mind crapping on Book. But the fact is, when you're talking about the guy who has like the most famous N-word moment in the history of wrestling, let alone a couple of them, but he called Hulk Hogan the N-word, bro. Like, what are we even talking about here? You want to talk about Vince McMahon saying the N-word in front of him on a television show? What the hell does that mean? That's how all this started. You're going to call into question one of the greats, one of the GOATs, because he allowed Vince McMahon, the owner, a character, by the way, to do something evocative on a television show. I mean, Jesus Christ, it spoke for itself. The gimmick, that moment, the segment was panned. It was lame. Good Lord. But hey, cry about something to get all the attention that you can when you can't do it just on natural ability alone, I guess. Look, I'm going to try to do more of these wrestling videos just because I'm not getting the lives going as much as I want. We'll get more wrestling videos and videos in general on anything that I like. Think about, want to bullshit to you guys about, whatever the case may be. You're going to get more of it right here, all over your face, neck, and chest, all kinds of times because I feel like it. Because I feel like it. Expect a video on Goliath and maybe some other television shows very, very soon. Keep it copious. And remember, as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends. Isaiah Scott, stop being a narky narc in the narky bunch. Goodbye.